Hi, I'm John Paulraj, and on this particular video, we are solving, or we're continuing that paper 1 times on 1, May 2025, IB Math Applications and Interpretations. This is an HL paper. I forgot to say that in part 1 and part 2. This is part 3, by the way. I forgot to say that again. So this is part 3. So in case you've missed out part 1 and part 2, make sure you go and check out those videos on my YouTube channel. We are continuing to solve this paper. Let's do it. So here we are. This is the question number 3, I think, and yeah, it is. So it says Raul wants to buy a new truck for $42,695 US. Raul is offered 2 different loan options to pay for the truck. For both options, Raul will pay back the loan over a period of 6 years. All right. 2 options are shown in the following table. There's an option A, option B, loan amount. All right. Size of the loan and percentage of the price. So the first loan, option A, is 100% of the purchase price. He'll get the loan, Raul. And for that, he has to pay nominal annual interest rate compounded monthly. Keep an eye on those things. Okay, compounded, how many times it's compounded a year? 12 times. And the option B is 80% of the purchase price. That means he has to pay 20% of that amount and initially as a deposit, and he's going to get a loan of 80% of the purchase price. And for that, the interest rate compounded monthly is 6.4%. I think it's about comparing. For both loan options, Raul will make monthly payments at the end of each month until the loan is completely paid off. That means, so we just need to calculate the amount, the monthly payment, the amount that he has to pay every month, to 2 decimal places if he chooses option A and option B. We'll take a look at it separately on our graphing calculator. So here is my graphing calculator. As usual, as I always say, insert a new problem. All right, so insert problem, a new problem per question. All right, it just helps to keep things organized. And if you want to know why, at the time of the exam, this is another examination tip. When you're checking your answers, it's not just checking your answers about what you wrote in the paper, but also checking it against the questions. So suppose there's a calculation, and what do? You come back to your calculator, and question number, problem number 2 refers to question number 2. So all calculations regarding question number 2 is already there. Regarding question 3, that you're going to do that here. It remains there. It's not gone, and then you don't have anything to check, because you can even make errors while entering data into the calculator, right? So it's a good habit to create a new problem, insert a new problem per question. Okay, keep that in mind. And if you want to know how to do all that, there is a separate video that I've made about problems and pages on my YouTube channel. I'll link that somewhere in the description, or it appears somewhere. What do they call that? Some end title or something like that. End title? Something like that. Okay, I'll link it up. You know what I'm talking about. So option A. So what do we do is that we're going to go and go through the menu, finance solver. This is number 8, finance solver. Let's just get on with this. Now, although we're doing all this on the calculator, this is what all that you enter here needs to be written on your paper, okay? Written very clearly, everything that you enter. So what is capital N? Capital N is a number of payments. Remember, in the question it says 6 years, and it's monthly payments. 6 years and monthly payments. So clearly you know that it's 6 times 12. But if you want, you can just enter it 6 times 12 here, and it will calculate for you. So you have to tab to the next entry. We're looking at option A, and it says the interest rate is 7.15. I stands for interest rate, 7.15%. Present value means the loan that he's received. Option A says that he is going to receive a loan of 100%. He's receiving whenever money comes into your pocket. You need to enter it onto the calculator with a plus sign, positive sign. Okay, it's coming into his account, right? So 42,695, 42,695 is what I'm going to enter with a positive sign. The payment is what we're going to find out, and when the answer is shown, when it's calculated, it'll come with a negative sign because payments are being made, money is leaving the pocket, so it'll indicate the negative sign, okay? And here you can see that it is showing me with the E4. Some kids get put off by that, so I'm just going to rectify that, all right? So just in case you see that happening in the exam, you'll know what to do. This is another hint based on your settings, okay? So what's going on is that I'm going to hit escape to come out of the finance solver, and I go to the settings. You can see how I'm doing that, okay? That battery icon, I can go to the document settings, and here you can see the calculation mode is set to approximate. If I change that to exact, everything is going to change in the financial solver. Okay, I'm going to hit okay, and I'm going to go back to my finance solver now. And oh, everything disappeared. So let's do that again. So 6 times 12 is what I entered. Tab, I think it was 7.12 from 7.15. 7.15. Interesting, it doesn't save all these things. Present value is 42695. 42695. Payment is what we are trying to calculate. And by the way, I'm using the tab key to move from one field to the other field, not the enter key. Okay, you have to hit enter when you are calculating. So we'll come back to the payment and hit enter later on. Right now, just leave it blank and go hit the tab key. Future value is 0 because he needs to completely pay it off. Okay, Raul needs to completely pay it off. So the future value has to become 0. Payments per year is 12 because there are 12 monthly payments. It's a monthly payment that he's making, 12 monthly payments. And the calculator automatically recognizes that because the interest is compounded annually. So this is CPY, means compounding periods. You know, every year the interest is being compounded. But there's another reason why, you know, these both are 12, and maybe I should make a video some other day explaining what happens when it's not equal. See, because what's happening, in short, let me just try and explain that. What's happening is that how is interest actually calculated? How do banks calculate the interest? Once you make a payment, you know, you make a payment, then from the balance, whatever's left back from the principal that has been borrowed, the interest is computed on that. So almost like every month you make a payment, you know, there's an interest maybe applied on the remaining amount that is yet to be paid. Okay, so that means that the payments are being made every month, so 12 months of a year, but so are the compounding periods, you know, every month. You hope that is clear. I'll make it much more clear in another video. But every month you make a payment, then the interest is going to be computed from the remaining amount, and therefore CPY and PPY must be equal. And then the last one is payment at the end of each month. If it was happening at the start of every month, then obviously you have to go and change that to the beginning of every month. And so this is, you leave it at the end of every month. Let's come back to the payment because that's what we are going to calculate. And remember, it's going to show in the negative sign when I hit enter. And it shows negative 730.98. I think the question said answer to 2 decimal places. Is that right? Let me just check that. To 2 decimal places. Okay, so it says negative, and now don't write negative. Okay, that is just for the calculator interpreting for you because the money is leaving your hand. So how do you answer this question? You got to write down everything that you see. Don't write it with the negative sign. Okay, should we write it with the negative sign? Write it with the negative sign so that the examiner understands that you know what's going on. So, you know, if you can look at the screen, and I'll write it down. Okay, so we said this is A part, and I'm going to write capital N as 72, and interest is right now it shows as a what do you call that, an exact value, therefore the decimal is gone, but you enter the decimal as it is. Okay, so what was the interest here? 7.15, I believe. 7.15, and the present value PV, we'll enter it as 42695, and the payment, and I'm going to enter it as I see, 730.9864517166. And you say, so what's going on? You said only 2 decimal places, but that's how you'll write it down. This is working. This is showing I'm going to show you what I'm writing. Okay, see, I wrote down everything. Okay, this is working. So basically you're telling the examiner, this is what I see on my GDC, all right? So going back to my calculator, future value is 0 because that is what you want, you know, the loan to become 0. And the payment per year, PPY, is 12. CPY is also 12. I can come back to my screen right now. And what does it say? Payment at, it says something like that. Okay, it says PMT at. Not sure whether the Casio has this feature. Okay, that means you have to work it out in a different way. I'm going to show that in the calculator again. You know, this is what I'm referring to, the payment at. Okay, I'm not really sure whether the Casio has that feature. But coming back to my OneNote, this is what counts as working. So you can write right at the start, you can write it down as using GDC, and then you can write down all of this as it is shown. And the question said, calculate the amount of Raul's monthly payment to 2 decimal places if he chooses option A. And then you can say A, part 1, monthly payment equals, and remember USD, okay, dollars, USD, and don't write with the negative sign this time, okay, 730.97. Corrected 2 decimals, you've rounded it off. Fine. Option B now. Everything remains the same except for the interest, which is 6.4%, and it's 80% of the purchase price. Okay, so how does that change things here? I think the TI Inspire makes it very easy. So this is the present value, right? Present value. So let's just change one by one. The N remains the same because it's the same 6 years. Interest changes. So let's just go here and I'll make it 6.40. And I think the moment you hit tab, it'll convert it into the exact value. Okay, so can you see that? Don't worry about it. But present value is not 42695 anyway. It's 80% of that. So a smart thing to do with this calculator is that you can just put 80% of that amount, 0.8 times. Okay, because that's all that's, the loan being offered. 20% is the initial deposit. And having said that, when you hit tab and then you hit enter, it's going to calculate the payment. And there you go. The payment is now negative 572.535. Now, do you have to copy the whole thing again? The answer is yes. Okay, so let's do that patiently. All right, don't be in a hurry. Do that, and that is what counts for working. Okay, so I'm going to go back and A part 2. All right, and here again we can say using GDC. Is that a different shade of blue? Yeah, but that's okay. That's not important, right? Using GDC, N is again 72. I is, what was that? 6.40. 6.40. And yeah, you don't have to enter the percent sign. Okay, you can just put it that way. Present value is what you need to enter. Present value this time is 34156. Payment as I see on the calculator, I'm going to enter it as negative 572.535. What else do I see? 109. You know what? You don't have to do all of this, but yeah. 933091. I'm just doing it, okay, so that you can see that, all right? And if I was the examiner, I'd like to see that you rounded off. Future value again is 0, and PPY, no change to that. 12. CPY, no change to that. And the payment at is end again. And after having written that, you can say monthly payment now. What's happening here? Oh, again no space. What's wrong? Okay, I've already mentioned this tip a couple of times to you guys, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, please refer back to part 1 and part 2, and you'll know what I'm talking about, okay? There's no space. What are you supposed to do, right? So I'm going to write it just adjacent to this, okay? So monthly payment, use the same color. Monthly payment is what? Is USD, what was that amount? 572.54. Okay, now one thing if you can improve on in this particular answer is that I'd also included monthly payment using or with option A. That's my choice. I'll make it a bit more specific. Oh, I'm not even showing you. I'm sorry about that. Okay, sorry. This is what I wrote. Monthly payment is USD 572.54, and here I wrote monthly payment is this much, but now I added this little phrase, okay? Tell me whether that's important or not, okay, in the comments if you think, because I'm being as specific as we can, because you know what? I'll tell you why. So much is done in the calculator, and mostly AI students say that, oh, but I did on the calculator. I did on the calculator. This is just communicating to the examiner that yes, I did on the calculator, but I have understood what it means. And monthly payment using or with option A, in the same way, monthly payment with option B. Okay, I just like it to be as specific as we can. All right, let's go on to state a reason. Okay, part B says state a reason why Raul might choose option A. Why might he choose option A? Well, one reason could be that, he doesn't have that initial amount. He doesn't have, or maybe he doesn't want to pay that initial amount. Why are they asking this question? Why would you end up paying? Because people who take loan or people who advise about loan will say you will end up paying so much at the end, and that's a wise call. Okay, so if you come to the stage when you're taking a loan, it's also important to ask the question like, how much am I going to end up paying at the end of those 6 years? You're taking a loan of $42,695 US. Well, at the end of 6 years, how much are going to pay at the end, and that depends on the percentage. So it's a very important question to ask. 7.15%, 6.4%. Why would you choose option A or option B? One reason, as I said, could be that he doesn't have that money, to make the deposit. Option B, why he might choose? Well, he wants to pay less. He doesn't want to pay that, that extra amount. So that could be one reason why he chooses option B. All right, so let's go to, this is B, I believe. This is B. So where am I going to write that? I'm going to write it here, B, and I'll write the answer in another color. Raul might choose option A if he does not, is my sentence clear? If he does not have enough money to pay the initial deposit of 20% of the loan amount, not the loan amount, of the price of the car, price of the truck. Now see, it might seem a lot, but get in the habit of practicing to write like this every time you solve, not just for the exam, even in your class, okay? Get into the habit of writing exactly in the context of the question. Only then you will know how much time you're taking, okay? And compare. If you have a better way to explain, as I said in the earlier video, a better way to explain, mention that in the comment, okay? I will learn how to improve that, okay? So, but you need to be specific, okay? This is what's interpretation all about, okay? Why might Raul choose option B? Raul might choose option B if he does not want to, or does not want to pay a higher monthly payment when compared to option A. I think this is clear, right? This makes more sense. So we are going to stop there because that's all the time that we have for this video. If you found anything useful, please make sure that you like, share this video with someone, and subscribe to my channel. If you visit my channel, there are several other videos. Do check them out also. And if you have any question, any topic that you'd like explained, do mention that in the comments and I'll make a video for you. I'll see you in the next one.